Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we'll be previewing the GWS Giants for their 2016 SuperCoach prospects. As part of Shorty's Shortlist, we're looking through every club, and they're not always your most obvious picks that we'll have a look through. Everyone knows that Heath Shaw's a gun and going to be one of the top defenders. Mumford we know can score, etc. So we're going to have a look at a few more players that are just worth discussing, and a few of their pros and cons. They might offer a bit of value, they might be about to explode and have a breakout year. Just a few players that at this early stage that you should definitely be having on your radar. And look, these Giants players are now starting to come along, and for so long we've talked about how potentially good they could be, and now we're about to really see them fulfill that potential, and they should, because there's certainly plenty of talent on that list, as we know. So many first round picks, it's unbelievable. They're just playing through the needful as well. But first off the cab, we got Dylan Shield. He's one of my favourites. I love the way he plays, his run and carry, his beautiful left boot. And he's got some real value here. You might think, how does he get value? He's 102.8 average last year. If you take away the game that he got injured in, he twisted his knee in round 15, midway through the second term, I think it was. So he's flying again. He was on 46 late in the second term. If you take that game out, he averages 107.2, which I think you'd take for a guy who was on fire. He's got talent to burn, we know that. He was touted, if he didn't go in that underage category that the Giants got a concession with their list, if he didn't go there, he would have been a top 5 pick in the national draft, and there's for good reason. I mean, the way he runs and carries unbelievable. Inside 50s, he wins the ball on the inside and the outside, and he's damaging. He can kick goals, he's got confidence. He's the exact prototype of a SuperCoach midfielder that can score big points, and that was evident in round 1 and 2, where he just dominated with 136 and 149. It's definitely what he's capable of. I will say, he potentially hasn't shown that he can break a tag yet. In round 12, he was tagged out of the game by Jacobs against North Melbourne, just scored the 54, and after those two big games to start the year, as I said, against the two opponents there, he came up against Sydney in round 3 and was really shut down with just 52 points. So perhaps if he gets some serious attention, that may be your one query on him. But aside from that, I really think he's one of the more juicy picks for this year. I kind of want to pick him, but I've already got a few different ones through the midfield, but he's well on my radar. I've got a short list of about 10 that we are really looking at for my premium midfielders, and he's right up there because I just like the fact that, he had the injury game that just drops his price back ever so slightly, and just enough that, if he can get with that 103 average and he can, say, get up to 112 or something, that's really good. It might just be that added value, might be enough to sway him in your way to maybe pick him over someone else who's priced at 108, 109, 110. So he's a man to keep on your radar, no doubt. Another fella is Toby Green, who has been a real roller coaster ride for us over the fantasy ways. He burst on the seed in 2012, averaging 94.6. Dropped back to about 73 the next year. Blasted out once again in 2014, 102.9. And last year again, just dropped back for whatever reason, 82.8. I was looking at his stats, and we can get him as a forward midfielder. That's what really makes him a very interesting option, because I don't think you'd pick a guy like that through the midfield. There's just so much risk, and he's in that awkward price range. But as a forward, you got to wonder, maybe he's worth a crack. And looking at his stats, the reason you might be looking for, why did he fall away so dramatically in his price? Well, his time on ground went down. He played 5% less per game on the ground, and his marks inside 50s went slightly up. His touches went 6 down per game. So there's no doubt that he was just playing more forward. His goal assists were up as well. His contested ball was slightly down. So, that all equates when I read it that he obviously played more forward time, and the fact that he's a forward midfielder obviously backs that up with the champion data stats. So that's why the queries on him. We'll have a look at his positives first. I mean, he racks up the ball, has no dramas finding it through the midfield. Is he going to play midfield? That's question number 1 if you're looking at Toby Green. Last 7 games of 2014, he averaged 128.6. There's not many players who can do that in the league, and he's one. And at this young age, he's coming into his prime. He's had a few troubles with distasteful things on the field and interesting things off the field as well, but his talent can't be denied. What can be denied is his disposal efficiency. 2012 and 13, he was 4th in the league for clangers per game, and last year ranked 14th in total clangers per game, and that was with, obviously much less of the ball. So That's concerning. Over the course of his career, he averages 3.6 clangers per game, and he's not the most effective user of the pill, but he does find it. And look, if he has a good pre-season and he's dominating that challenge to the midfield, finding plenty of the ball, he's shown he can score big. So there's a few Toby Green fans out there, but buyer beware. He's not the cleanest of all time, and he can throw in the old clanger. But once upon a time, that was the knock on Nat Fyfe. No one wanted to pick him because he just turned out too many clangers. It can be tidied up, can be changed, and we all know what happened with Fyfe. I'm not saying Green's going to pump out an 130 average, but he's more than capable to go 110. Another man we'll have a look at through the Giants midfield is Lachie Whitfield, and he's a really interesting player because so much pressure is put on these number one picks, and mainly maybe because he's up in GWS there, like that might be taking a bit of the heat off him, but so many of the Victorian number one picks get so much pressure put on him. I think Whitfield has just cruised through his first 3 years in great fashion. He has played good footy, consistent footy too, which isn't always easy. There's a lot of midfielders up at the Giants, so it's a bit tough for him to really break in and get heaps of game time through the middle, but he's starting to, I think. His averages so far, 73, 79.4 and 77.9. I reckon he's the exact definition of a guy who could potentially break out and really explode this year. He's an exciting prospect. And look, I'll draw an interesting comparison to David Swallow, another number one pick. After their first 3 seasons, they both have played 51 games. David Swallow's first 3 season averages, you just heard Whitfield's. Swallow's was 79.5, 78.2, 79.6, and in that 4th year, Swallow exploded with that 103.2, which I touched on in the Gold Coast preview. So if you want to it's a nice little comparison, I suppose. 2 number one picks. Their careers have followed very, very similar lines in not only games, scoring, disposals, everything. And I think Whitfield, if you're looking for your absolute classic breakout contender, Whitfield is right up there. I think he's a smooth mover. He can find the ball on the outside. He probably could improve his inside footy. That's one thing, but I haven't seen enough Giants games to say whether that's a deficiency in his game or just not enough opportunity to really get in the midfield and get in the guts there with the likes of Ward, Griffin and Treloar is gone. So I guess, there's a position that could be made available for any one of these guys to really continue their midfield time. In his draft year, he was a clear number one pick, averaged 141 SuperCoach points for Vic Metro, and his main things that stood out were his good ball use, his vision and endurance in particular. So there are a few of the things that are what he's about as a footballer, and I think we could definitely see, and I'm pretty confident we'll see the best of Whitfield in 2016. How good is that from a scoring perspective? I'm not too sure. You probably want easily 100 plus, or definitely 3 figures if you're going to make it worthwhile picking up that slightly awkward price tag. I think you'll be around that 420 mark from memory. So awkward price tag, but could be worth it if you're looking for a breakout player. And a couple of draftees I'll touch on who are really high picks in the past, but now that they didn't play any games last year will be a bargain basement price for us, which is pretty juicy. Paul Ahern, number 7 pick, 2014, I believe. Didn't get a game for the Giants last year. He had a couple little niggles and things, but did play 16 games at NEFL level and was named in the best 7 times. So his profile reads pretty nicely. He's quite an all-round midfielder. If you look at his under-18 stats, got some classy skills, and he's a good mover, can find plenty of the ball. And I think if he can get some opportunity, which he'll definitely be looking for, I mean, to have a guy that's number 7 pick, he's obviously got plenty of talent. If he can find that opportunity and we can pick him at 123k, that'd be fantastic. I'm not as excited about Jared Pickett, but he's certainly worth a look. He's a bit small and a bit rawer as well. I mean, he's a 4-pocket sort of half-forward flank player, but he did go at number 4, and he's just got silk. He's clever. He's got quick pace. Everything that we associate with those sort of really speedy half-forward flankers, and he's an excitement machine. Played the 17 games in the NEFL, just 2 times named in the best, but he did kick 26 goals, so it obviously says he was playing quite a lot forward. But he's a guy to keep on your radar, because if these 2 fellas can find opportunity, which, we can talk about what they could potentially score. Will they average 70, 65? Could they get to 85 as a rookie price player? But at the end of the day, if we can get 12 to 16 games out of a guy that you can pick for 123k, that's the main thing. I don't think you read too much into what they may or may not score. So definitely if they can get opportunity, that's exactly where we'll be at. Couple of shout outs. Devon Smith, definition of a roller coaster is Devon. Averaged the 89. I wouldn't be going near him, to be honest. He might create a bit of debate the way he started last year, set it on fire, but I think the nature of his position allows that roller coaster effect. Topped out at 170 at one point, just dominated that game, but equally had some absolute stinkers. So unless he can get some real midfield time, pretty hard to go with Devon Smith, I would think. Stephen Caniglio, similar with him. Great player, and I think you could go up to that three-figure averaged 91.7 last year, and for that reason he doesn't offer that much value, and I think we can lock him in for an absolute 110. So pure mid. That's why I don't think we'll be going with him. But that just about wraps it up for the Giants. As I said, we're not having a real look at Heath Shaw or Shane Mumford or Callan Ward at this point, because I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We might look at that closer to the season when we really hone in on some of our exact places in our side. But for now, just a few players to keep on your radar, keep a lookout for. How are they playing NAB Challenge? A few positional guys in there. The midfield time's on offer at the Giants, I should say, with a few ageing players, as in Griffin as well. Treloar is left, so opportunity is there. And if some of these guys can find it, their scoring will either go up a notch, which is very, very nice, and they may get more opportunity a la Ahern and Pickett. So give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Give me some feedback. If I missed someone, certainly let me know, but I hope you enjoyed it. Keep clicking back, because we'll be producing plenty of Supercoach content throughout here, and give the channel a subscribe, because that's what it's all about. And yeah, certainly stay tuned, because there's plenty more previews coming your way.